Hello, everyone. So, funny story. On Friday, I may have attempted to stream, Peggle. This video game here, you'll get to learn all about it because you're going to see me play it. And on that Friday, I may have spent the entire stream, with, the screen looking like this. Where you only see the corner. At least I'm pretty sure that's how it works, where you only see the corner. And it was legitimately like a few hours that was going on, and I didn't realize. And all of that would be, a very funny, interesting story. And my reaction to finding out at the end was great. Like, almost made it all worth it. Except I had also forgotten, to click go live in the upper right corner. Something I only figured out like a day later when I still wasn't seeing the recording of the stream. So, I'm a good deal of the ways through this game. But we're just gonna make one that's explicitly for streaming. We can see I am enrolling in the Peggle Institute. I'm gonna tell my here. I want this up so you'll get those sweet noises. But I wanna tell my Discord friends that I happen to be streaming right now. So, and I don't think that was the right link, but they know my channel. So, all right. Don't want to put off this. So, hi, I'm Bjorn, founder of the Peggle. What voice should I do with him? I decided last time he was Norwegian, because he's Bjorn, So, Mortimer impression, maybe? Hi, I'm Bjorn, founder of the Peggle Institute. 10 Peggle masters are ready to teach you how to get the most out of your Peggle experience. And since I'm the boss, I get to go first. The best way to learn is to jump right in, so let's begin. Hit all orange pegs to win. You have 10 shots. So, I'm no stranger to this game. These reactions will not be, they will not be live and unspoiled, I'm sorry. But it's a good one. And I'm gonna 100% it, on stream, because it's not, that, it's not that long or well, like, there's a lot of content, but it's not that difficult. So, yeah. You guys, I said all of this last time, so this feels weird. But yeah, I have a couple of different ideas, for stuff I want to do. I'm gonna probably mostly stream stuff, just because that's so much easier. Hopefully I'll do more than one a month, which is sort of the minimum promise I made to you guys and to myself last time. The F-list quiz was pretty popular, I think. It also has occurred to me since then that the channel that commented that it was great content might have been a bot doing that thing bots do, where they comment on random people's content in order to make it not obvious that they're bots. So, but, I mean, there were two different people seemed to like it, so one of them was probably real. Oh. Wanted to 100% this one. Okay. But yeah, that's what happens. That's what happens when you get all the oranges. This level has bricks. Clear the orange pegs and bricks to pass the level. So, let's come on, okay. Yay! Yeah. But yeah, I said before I uploaded that F-list quiz, I said that it was going to be primarily a politics channel now, and that's still my intention. Yeah. So, I found last time, once I started talking, there's kind of this awkward silence early on, but once I got myself on a political topic, I was able to get going. Let's see if I can, because if you clear all of the pegs, that has special significance, but nope. Normally, the enemy of you clearing all the pegs is you running out of these balls over here. Problem is not normally here. Green pegs activate magic powers. The first magic power is Super Guide. It lasts for the next 3 turns. Okay. Yeah, none of these long shots are intentional, by the way. I am not good enough at this game to do shit like that on purpose. So what can I talk about? Maybe something uncontroversial enough that it won't alienate audience. It won't alienate like newfound audience. I'm just gonna ask. I don't have any actual viewers. Hopefully I will. Hopefully someone actually wants to watch this. If not, I'm having fun. I'm playing a video game, so whatever. So okay, here's what's on my mind. So there's this okay. There's this, in terms of like where the place of this channel is going to be, there's this, okay, like, I have a couple of sort of role models. Oh dear, this might be my first on-screen failure. Oh dear. 2 super guides, so yeah, I can make those sort of free. Okay. That is, in fairness to me, I have to keep the screen small. That thing that happened earlier where it only showed you the corner is what happens when I try to make the screen full size. So the entire game for me is like less than 6 inches wide, which is very irritating. That it won't let me do that. But still fun. Still kind of a game I want to go for. So, but yeah, I've kind of, if I'm gonna, kind of shoot to be part of BreadTube, I have to kind of find a place for myself in it. And there's kind of a couple niches. I find right now I tend to I kind of switch between binging different YouTubers a lot. Right now it's Vaush. But it's been different people at different times. There's a couple different niches. There's sort of a couple different styles of sort of BreadTuber. There is him, Vaush, and Xander Hall. The ones who are streamers. I doubt I'm ever going to be on Twitch. And YouTube isn't necessarily so much the platform for that, even though, I mean, that's kind of where Vaush does it. Okay. Should I go for some of these blue? And no, I'm not going to clear it. The purple peg is worth big points. Score over 25,000 points on a shot and get a free ball. Okay. Let's see here. But yeah, I don't think I'll ever, while I'm in college, I don't foresee myself having time to really make, like, proper video essays. That's kind of the problem with, even though, in a way, that's kind of like, that might be kind of what would be more suitable for me, because, I've been, life updates. I've been majoring in creative writing with a minor in literature. So in a way, I think I'm suited to make responses to, like, just, some of the kind of dumb reactionary, a lot of dumb reactionary YouTube surrounds, film and, of course, video games. And I'm getting a degree in books, basically. And so I can deal with that kind of nonsense. I'm kind of uniquely well equipped to deal with it. going for here. So you get 10,000 points for having each ball you have left at the end. You get some bonuses, like you get rewards for clearing it. The ball will head where you click. You can fine-tune your shot with the mouse wheel or arrow keys. So, let's see. I said last time it would be interesting to see a tier list of the various Peggle masters that exist here. I'll do that once I've played through the game and to the point of showing you all of them. There are that was... my finger slipped on the trackpad. Is why that was such a bad shot. It's definitely not because I'm bad at this game. That would never be the case. So yeah, I'm in a position to beat back at some of the bad sort of what we might call bad literary criticism that goes on. At the same time, 99% of that centers around like Hollywood movies, which I don't really watch many of. And I realize that kind of pretentious. It's, I'm a student, I don't have time to go to the movies. Ooh, that was... Okay. Oh my god. That was bullshit. Okay. But yeah, and of course, in the, because, as we all know, college is all about, particularly degrees in the humanities, are ultimately about leftist indoctrination. I've gotten to the point where, I'm far enough in that, sometimes I'm the one who kills the goat now. And I've walked a couple of freshmen through it. I kind of in the process of learning how to critique and interpret and study literature. You learn critical theory in general, and critical theory is not just the foundation of literary criticism. Well, part of the foundation of literary criticism. It's also the foundation of modern sociology and a lot of stuff. So there's, a lot of commentary I'm kind of equipped to do. And I find that I often, I want to say, like, in terms of, like, what, I'm talking about, like, what I think I'm good at right now. So... hopefully I can maybe say positive things about myself a little, without sounding too I am very smartish. Okay, I can get that one whenever I want, so I'll try for some of the blues. And there, again, I accidentally get the last orange. That's not common. Please understand. That's not common. All right, a fresh student. Are you ready for multi-ball? It's pretty extreme, but you look like you can handle it. Use it early for mad points, or hit both green pegs in one shot for some massively multi-ballular action. Come on, let's do it! Okay. My multi-ball pops an extra ball out of the green peg when you hit it. It's radically amazing! Okay. Let's go here. But yeah, one thing I think... one thing that I think I might have as kind of an advantage is that I think I might be a little... I think I might have kind of not like a unique ability. Like I'm not saying I'm better than everyone else. Please don't put me on r/I'm very smart. But I do find that I have a bit of I can kind of handle. It's not okay. I feel like I kind of can sometimes get the other side in a way that a lot of other people sometimes don't. Maybe it's because I've been all around the political spectrum. I don't actually think it's necessarily all that, just that. Because I don't like most of the stuff like that I feel like are like kind of insights I have into like the conservative mind don't really come I mean to some extent like they come from self-reflection, but they come more from comparing like modern me let's see, do I want to risk losing? Let's see if I can get this one, because I feel embarrassed because last time I like got immediately got 2. Okay. Yes! 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 There's what happens, and notice that they're all 100,000 now. Yes! Hit the green peg on the left side to make the multi-ball pop out on the right side. The opposite totally works too! So yeah, thinking about like an example, I often find times when I feel deeply that I'm right and other people are wrong about politics, are often when I find people. And like I don't mean this in like a Libby way, like everything's fine, we just need to understand the other side. Because people do have fundamentally different and incompatible values, and it's not all like we really can't all just get along. It's not that the source of conflict is very often incompatible goals. But I do also think people on opposite sides generally are pretty bad at understanding one another. I think that people tend to make a couple of sort of different recurring mistakes. One is that people tend to kind of assume that other people's thought process is more like theirs than it actually is. So let's see. I want to get that orange one to secure winning the level. Yeah, only go for 100 when I'm sure I'm gonna win the level at all. People do often kind of not understand each other. They tend to The multi-ball is so cool, it gives you a super wicked extra chance to get a free ball. That rules! This guy is a fucking bro, by the way. I love this. Like, my favorite of the Peggle Masters we'll meet later. But I love this fucking gopher. He's just so radical. And this channel, you know, now this channel is about being radical. So yeah. Oh wow, that was cringe. Yeah. But yeah, the conscious motivations of people on opposite sides of an argument are rarely sort of parallel with one another. Far more often, people on opposite sides, at least on some level, have like sort of orthogonal goals that happen to be in conflict with one another, even when that conflict is kind of direct. The motivations behind it are often sort of are often kind of not unrelated, but like tangential. So even like if we go like the big example, which is like class, where you know, once like with class, you know, the actors trying to create class justice are generally the people currently badly off, or who empathize with the people currently badly off. And the actors trying to prevent class justice are the ones who benefit from the current system. Even that, though, it's not precisely the exploitation that motivates, like, the bourgeoisie. It's the benefits they experience from it. And that's an example where the motivations are very close to parallel. Other ones, I guess probably the biggest one where there's no parallel at all, where there's like basically no parallel at all, is gun control. I am of two minds on that issue, by the way, because on one hand, in terms of like short-term harm reduction, gun control is clearly like the best thing to do, and medium-term harm reduction as well. On the other hand, you know, maybe we might want to enact some kind of anarcho-syndicalist revolution at some point. That might be fun, and you need guns to do that. And all of the other people who are as far left as me are totally, like, almost, like, turn into, like, gun Yankees. And I'm kind of not fully there, because I feel like I'm basically telling a bunch of, like, children, hi, you all have to die in mass shootings because there's a 1% chance of an anarchist revolution. Oh god, my headset just did the battery life plainy beat. Wonder if there's a way to put it up on the charger. I should have had it on the charger earlier. The fewer orange pegs left, the more points you get. Check the rad fever meter on the right-hand side of the board for the current point multiplier. Yeah, but so yeah, if I suddenly go silent, it's because my headset ran out of battery. But it normally gives me like an hour or so. which might be as long as I stream anyway. How long have I been going? About half an hour, okay. You can reasonably beat the adventure mode of this game in one session. It's not like, Plants vs. This is, PopCap, they do this, they're responsible for Plants vs. Zombies, and for, Zuma's Revenge. All of which I may very well, if I find that I like gaming, you know, doing this sort of gaming on stream stuff, I may very well do all of them. On stream. Plants vs. Zombies is a much harder and much more involved game, and much longer. And Zuma's Revenge is also very difficult. So I was talking about cognitive bias and people talking past each other, and again, like, I feel like too much of talk about people talking past each other is in that very sort of libby, you know, why can't we all just get along discourse that I really don't like. It's really stupid. Not that, like, that's probably not a hot take, at least among the group of people I'm now marketing myself to. All of my subscribers are people who were subscribed to me in the olden days, so I have no idea how they're going to react to this. Probably a bunch of them are like, probably a bunch of them are fucking mortified, like, oh god, he turned into an SJW, which, I mean, that's been true since, like, oh god, like, if anything, I've been more of an SJW than I am right now. You know, it's kind of, I do have a couple of ideas for like I said that I mostly won't do video essays because I don't have time to. I do have some ideas that I really want to do that I don't know if I'll try to find some. If I'll try to do them by finding like a video. I don't know if I'll do them by trying to, like, find a video to respond to, because that I do intend to sort of do those. Hold the right mouse button to speed up time. This totally helps when you're waiting for that perfect shot. Those sort of I guess I'd say Vouch-esque. There must be other people. Hell, I did them before I knew who that was. Especially on my other channel, which this main one is now turning into. Aw, it's always so disappointing when it gets almost there. Yeah, I could do that. I don't have time. I might want to start back up the Golden Nibiru, which I did. Oh, fuck. Which I did, like, as a teenager, at this point. But like I say, I don't really have time to. But one video essay I do have an idea for, it would simply be called Class Reductionism is Inadequate. Just to, you know, not the world's worst thesis, not the world's most astonishing one, anymore. You know, we're at the point where, for the first time in history, more people are on board with social issues than class issues. Because it turns out that with class issues in place, social issues don't matter anymore. Well, what I was kind of about to start to say, I realized that the words I was saying there kind of didn't make much sense. What I was about to say there, you know, that it is true, like, that... Okay, so class reductionists who, if you don't know, class reductionists are leftists who basically believe that all issues are class issues. That class is the only category of issues, either the only category of issues that matters, or like that, they're called class reductionists because they think that all issues are reducible to class. Often, they coincidentally are also kind of are also kind of socially to the right. I accidentally clicked something. It minimized all my windows. They tend to be kind of socially to the right. They tend to be... But they're sort of defining belief that makes them reductionists and not just like Strasserites who are just far right people who happen to have far left economics but are far right in every other respect. Is that class reductionists may theoretically support social struggles, but they don't want them to take up too much attention, because after all, what they'll say is that without classes, without the class struggle, without class divisions, all other forms of inequality sort of evade into vapor. They sort of just stop being things. Now, the problem with this is that it's not true. There's kind of two elements to it. So there's two competing elements to class reductionism, sort of almost two competing factions. There's the ones who are class reductionists because they oppose trans rights, women's rights. I was about to say race issue. Most of them are at least bare minimum on race issues. And then there's the ones who, in theory, are fine with them, but in practice kind of want them to shut up and stop siphoning resources away from the class struggle. And the reasoning for why that's an okay way of thinking is that for instance, they would reason regarding gender that the gender struggle as we know it is kind of the fruit of capitalism. It's the fruit of it's the result of the family structure, that's atomized. You have the man outside the house working. You have a woman. Meow. I like yarn, but not as much as I like my pyramid power. It extends the edges of the free ball bucket for extra bounces and last-second reprieves. It's subtle, but it can really help you out. Gaze with me into the pyramid, and I'll show you. Gaze with me into the pyramid. Is that fucking Orientalism on my leftist stream? How dare you, sir? My magic power turns the free ball bucket into a pyramid. Heat the green peg to see it in action. So, as I was saying about class reductionism, so they would, for instance, say that because capitalism is responsible for the nuclear family, and the nuclear family, as we know it, is basically the root of modern gender norms. It's okay for feminists to just kind of all shut up and wait for the revolution, wait for the communist revolution, and gender issues will all get solvified. Problem is that doesn't really happen, because we have historical examples of, I mean, people will debate if we have historical examples of #real communism, but class reductionists are more likely to be the kinds of communists who are satisfied with what we have right now, or with what we've had historically. So, they are the ones who should be most wedded to those real-life examples. And my thing is really complaining now, so I'm going to let you listen to Ode to Joy for a second while I go get the charger to my headset. Is that... Okay. Alright. Gotta move a few things around here to get to where I can plug this in. Should only take a second. So... they would say, so basically, class reductionists, fittingly, would try to reduce gender to class. And they would normally use that as pretext to then tell feminists to basically stop complaining so much, and that that they just need to help with the class struggle. Race, it's easy to see how you could kind of reduce race to class. Someone could argue naively, because like I say, I don't think this perspective really works. That the bulk of the oppression against black people is economic. Therefore, if you solve class, you solve if you solve class, you solve race, and sexual or problems with gender and sexual minorities are ultimately the result of that same gendered capitalist class structure and of patriarchy. So if we get rid of capitalism, we get rid of patriarchy, we get rid of homophobia and transphobia. I can still talk, so I'm just going to walk into the room. If you hear a piddling noise, that's me taking a piss and or washing my hands. I don't know to what extent you'll be able to hear that. So yeah, they would say all of those things that I just said, that that class issues are at the heart of all other injustices, and therefore, if we just solve class issues, all of those other problems would go away. Now, I have just described a very socially progressive class reductionist. A lot of class reductionists are, in practice, at least homophobic or transphobic. Many of them are at least dude bro levels of misogynistic, even if they're not even if they're not as bad as many more notably sexist people. And not many of them are, like I said, most of them are at least bare minimum on race issues. But couple problems. The first problem is that, contrary to popular belief, and by saying this, I'm actually disagreeing even with I don't know if I was about to say I'm disagreeing with at least one of my professors by saying this. I don't actually know that for sure, but that sort of gender system that I kind of described is not really a matter of capitalism. It's like a communist society could have family units structured the same way. Like, admittedly, that sort of atomization is very common in capitalist societies, so there might be some real sense in which it's the result of those societies. My pyramid power lasts 5 turns. Meow, that's a lot of turns. So, but, you know, as far as I know, USSR worked the same way. I say that. I think women did work to a significant extent. But with regards at least to issues of sexual orientation, we know that class reductionism didn't work there. And of course, you know, the response of class reductionists, especially class reductionists who also happen to be tankies, will be that it would have eventually, or that it would now, because, you know, we are kind of in a better place, and I'll admit this, but, like, we are in a better place globally, when it comes to LGBT issues. But for one thing, I actually suspect that the reason why we are in a better place with regards to all of that is precisely because the capitalism that we live under is not threatened by those things the way that, like, feudalism was. And what's happening now is just the delay, just basically the reason why those institutions have stayed in place up until now is because of inertia. So let's see here. Because, like, if you look at, so one piece of speculation I've heard for why women originally, actually saying this, phrasing the argument, it's not that like patriarchy, it's not that capitalism didn't put force that kind of would lead things toward the maintenance of patriarchy. Is this good content, by the way? Is me rambling about nothing? Well, not about nothing. I'm rambling. What am I talking about? I'm rambling about class reductionism, idiot. But is me rambling like this while playing a video game that's probably entirely too loud? I'm gonna turn it down a little bit more. Is this good content? Of course, there's no one to answer me, because I am alone right now. I am speaking to no one, to nothing. Nada. And last time I was regularly streaming, it hemorrhaged subscribers, though I think this is probably at least better content than those old, like, D&D streams were. Those were really bad. Even I couldn't bear to watch them. I don't know, like, I don't know why I kept doing them so long. Like, it's not as though I was under the delusion they were ever gonna explode in popularity, or something like that. Yeah, I think I'm definitely doing worse than when you couldn't. I'm definitely doing worse than I was when you couldn't see it because I was full screen and also because I had forgotten to click the begin stream button. And I think that's because the screen is smaller. It might also be that I'm more into my talking and like just kind of paying less attention. I don't know. Let's see here. Crap. Okay, probably gonna lose. Ooh. Never mind. What the fuck? I was right-clicking! What the fuck? Okay. So where was I? That's the video game format. That might be a weakness to the video game format, is that I keep losing my train of thought. So maybe I should just start trying to comment more explicitly on the game. Okay, I'd explained what a class reductionist was, and I was okay. And I made basically the argument I would have made in that video essay that I might never have the time to make. Which is just that historically, the idea of class reductionism just doesn't really pan out. Like, most socialist regimes are homophobic. That's just what it comes down to. And I don't think, the worst, like, people who aren't really so much class reductionists as they're just, like, Strasserites or Nazguls. The difference being that Strasserites and Nazguls aren't bare minimum on race issues there, whereas class reductionists often are. They would say that, gayness, they would say that, homosexuality is, a bourgeois degeneracy, and that's why socialist regimes mostly dislike it. I would argue that the association between the upper classes and quote-unquote degeneracy is not about what people do, but what people can get away with. The number above my head tells you how many turns are left on my magic power. Meow. So, like, it probably is, like, it probably is true that at least in terms of what could possibly be learned about by the public, upper classes might have gotten up to more of that kind of stuff, but it's because they were the only ones who could get away with it. But of course, you know, a Strasserite would spin that as, you know, just another evil that, you know, they might make like make some kind of, like, I could see someone making like an Epstein comparison there. So, let's see. But besides class reductionists, you then have there's then like another sort of opposite side. Like on the opposite side of the horseshoe are, I was about to say woke scolds, but that's not, like, woke scold is, being woke scold doesn't imply that you are, that you're, like, pro-capitalism. It just means that you're an especially obnoxious, or attention-hungry, it just means that you're an especially obnoxious, attention-hungry, leftist who spends an inordinate amount of time gatekeeping, rather than, you know, doing things that materially advance leftism. Certainly, but, like, there's a certain faction of like, libs like to pretend that, like, it's like everyone they don't like is a class reductionist. Or anyone who, like, includes an analysis of class in their analysis of race or gender or sexual orientation. Because that's the thing where, like you can't do with just class, because there are secondary and independent factors. But you also can't do without an analysis of class. Like, an analysis of, race that doesn't account for class, or an analysis of gender that doesn't account for class, or I would dare say any pro-capitalist analysis of gender is at least as inadequate as, like white feminism, like an analysis of gender that doesn't account for race. You can't make an account of any one aspect of a culture without mentioning that will be complete, without mentioning pretty much every significant aspect of that culture. I once thought nothing could beat playing with a ball of yarn, but Peggle tops it. I'm keeping the yarn, though. Yarn still hits the spot every so often. Meow. I've got a fever, and the only cure is extreme fever. Haha, get it? It's ironic because the cure for my fever is actually more fever. Meow. I was not doing the voice right that time. Aww. I'm afraid these dead times are really boring. Maybe, like, does the game... Like, you might be paying more attention to the game than I am, dear hypothetical future viewer, because no one's in the fucking chat. Huh. This one's going pretty well. I might try to 100% it. Secure the win first. Greetings, aspiring Peggle. My task is to expound on Explodious Space Blast for furious fulguration and fabulous firework. Many pegs will be sparkily dismissed, and points will accrue at the speed of shock. Set ocular eyes to see, and we shall launch our session. Blorp. Powers are magical. Hit green peg for Space Blast. Cosmic explodation. So... So we have this guy. I should have been, I said I was going to try to predict what tiers they, like, where would their tiers be. So, for each of them, I'm going to predict, like, if they're low, middle, or high tier. So I think Bjorn, on, like, a tier list, if there is one, Bjorn is probably low tier, because his ability doesn't really do anything. It just kind of makes, like, the super guy doesn't allow for any shots that wouldn't otherwise be possible. It's kind of a training wheel, and it's sort of only of use, basically it's only of use if you're not as good at the game, which of course tier lists focus on, like, higher skilled players. Multi-ball, I predict, would be mid-tier, because I think just it does something, but I think some might argue that it doesn't do quite as much. You know, it allows for, like, really impressive individual boards, but in a sense, it doesn't do anything that nothing else could. For the is this the third or the pyramid, I think is probably like a low to mid tier, because it's like you said, like it's subtle. Compared to a lot of these other ones that have really big effects sometimes. This one I suspect is like low to mid tier. One thing is that there's essentially no skill in the use of it. There can be a little bit of timing, because it, as we'll see in future levels involving it, as we'll see in future levels involving it, it can be on moving pegs. So, like, just like the green ones can in other ones. Dupe, waiting for a particular shot, right-clicky speeds up the board. I don't know why that one is in there twice. Not a lot of the tips are. Maybe it's because they wanted to remind you, because that's important on this level in particular, because as you can see, in fact, yeah. Actually, I really like all the chisels on these levels. That's from another PopCap game. One that, I don't know if I'll ever stream that. I'd stream that one if I had a chat to talk to. Greep, sometimes blue pegs block good shots to orange. Hit blues to clear away the way. Fucking words. There was, like, there I timed it to get the purple. But this one out here, I guess I could wait until a purple one spawns by it. I'll do that. I wonder if I should get, like, a debate opponent. Because I feel like this would definitely be more interesting with 2 people. But none of the others are on, so we shall proceed for the time being. Purple Peg changes place after every shot. Points are plenty if you catch Purple Peg with Space Blast. Yeah, so I think that it's telling us to like try to time our Space Blast to get the purple. So these levels all have names, by the way. I think this one is called Iron Maid, which is like a reference or something. Now focused. Of course, when I'm focused, I don't say anything, and the stream gets worse. Gloop. Clear more orange pegs early on. Focus on single trickies last. And I seem to have stopped talking, so I think this is going to be the last one I do for now. One thing about that tip is that it doesn't tell you why, which the reason why is partly because, you know, when you get a lot of them, you know which ones are the stragglers. Part of it is because of the multiplier over there. Yeah, I've been going for a little over an hour. I'm gonna main menu. So, see you guys. If this gets any comments, I'll know to play video games more in the future. Bye-bye.